Welcome, everyone. We are here at our Strive305 Podcast. Ready to go again. Very exciting today. It's very exciting for me today because we have some special guests here in my kind of world that I love. You'll see here, well, obviously, let me start with my co-host, Irvans, Augustin, and I'm Tico, Casamayor. And again, this is the Strive305 Podcast. This podcast, just to give you a little quick overview of what it's about. Strive305 is an initiative that the mayor's office has put out for Miami-Dade County to help small businesses. So this is really a small business podcast. We're going to give you news, tips, and we have the wonderful Strive305hub.com website. That's the address for the website. From there, you'll be able to get information. That's what it's all about. But before I get into that, and before Irvans gets into that, I want to introduce our guests. We have with us today Carlos Rodríguez, here to my right. He's known as Pastor Pump. He's a retired, can I say, bodybuilder? Yeah. Retired bodybuilder with a lot of history. And he has and a wonderful story. He's a personal trainer now. And then to his left, we have Alex Fello Cambronero. Alex is a current bodybuilder, getting ready. Actually, he's 18 weeks away from defending his championship for his Masters Olympia over in Japan, correct? Yes.
Correct.
All right, but before I even get that past that, let me read you his bona fides because we got bona fides here. Like I said, he's a current Olympia Masters champion. He's an 8-time champion. He's the Arnold Classic champion. He also has an additional 2nd place and 3rd places at the Arnold. He's a 9-time Olympian with top 10 finishes, right? 9 with top 10 finishes, all 10 of them, including a 4th place in 2020. He's the owner of Pro Level Gym, location actually here in Miami and in Costa Rica. And that's him. So obviously, we don't mess with him. But I do like to, joke around with him for a while. He did work on me years ago. Him and I were training partners for a while. And I think I have a picture here of what he did to me back in those days. Can we show a picture of what he did to me back in those days?
Nice.
Okay, no. That's not the pic. That is my cowboy face. You went too far back, producer. Please focus. Let's tell. That's what he did to me. He actually did that to me. I know you're going to think that's impossible. There's no way that guy looks like that now. Or he looks like he looks
how old were you on that picture?
That was at least 2 or 3
12?
months ago. We're not going to talk about how long ago that was. That was 2018. It wasn't that long ago. But anyways, that tells you his bona fides. That tells everything he does. And then Pastor Pump, also IFBB Pro. He was an IFBB Pro champion, right, as well. And then he suffered a devastating injury, and he's going to talk about that. But I'm taking away from your world, Irvans. Let me stop and go ahead and you take over now. And give us your Miami Minute. And
I was actually interested in it. Yeah,
it's exciting, right? These guys.
It is really interesting. We'll just kick us off with the Miami Minute. On April 13, 1896, Miami's future rolled in on steel tracks as the first train pulled into the Miami River. So today's April 14th, but I just figured it was close enough into it. So while the first scheduled passenger train arrived 2 days later, this earlier unofficial an unmarked train really is the beginning of Miami's transformation from a swampland to a thriving city. Thanks to Henry Flagler's bold extension of the FEC Railway from West Palm Beach, it really sparked a change in evolution in the South Florida area and to the city that we have today. And Miami was incorporated April 28th, a couple weeks later. So that's how the Magic City got started. A couple days around, how is Miami today? I have to go look that up. But in any case, that's the Miami Minute.
I know Hialeah is 100 years old. I don't know Miami. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of centennials today. In any case, that was the Miami Minute, and excited to have you both here as guests. And I had the pleasure of talking a little bit with you before, Carlos, Pastor Pump. I guess to start, how did you get your name? Tico was saying before you started working out in a church parking lot, and that's how you started it? No?
we in 2000, actually before 2000, around 2000, 2001, our church every Thanksgiving would pick up some of the guys from downtown and bring them over for Thanksgiving dinner for, to have them come over, whatever it is, the homeless guys from the street. And they did it, on Thanksgiving. And I was like, why we only do that one time a year? And so I started working with these guys and bring them every Sunday to church. So let's bring every Sunday to church. We set up, breakfast. Publix would donate the breads for us, some leftover food so we can give them food in the morning. We just started doing that working with the guys in inner city and working with kids in the inner city. And then when I was working on one of the message boards, an administrator, a guy there wanted to give me a name, so you can't use the name Carlos. Got to get something like a wrestler, got something fancy. So I said, you know what, let's just do Pastor Pump. You know, I went there and it just kind of stuck from there. So it's been about going since 2000. We got that name like in 2006 and just kept it there.
I think that's better. Like you get anointed Pastor Pump instead of picking it yourself. So
we did it in the gym.
I guess it's official.
We're getting people in the street in Miami for years, so that was a very big blessing for me, and got to see what's going on in the streets of Miami back in the day.
How did you get into? So like right now, you have your own personal training business and a gym.
I've been doing my own personal training since 2002. My son was born, so since then I've been doing my own personal training business since 2002.
This is the thing is that Carlos is not gonna talk about him. I don't think that we're getting into very deep on how he is, because he looks like a retired bodybuilder. But this guy used to train and actually train people, but form with the 8-time Mr. Olympia, Lee Haney.
Wow,
that's the formation this guy had. Okay, so for me, and most people would agree, this is the top one or two best bodybuilding of all time. The only 2 bodybuilders in the entire history have won 8 titles, and Lee was one of them. And Carlos was that group of guys training with him. Carlos also helped and worked with Sean Roden. That was a Mr. Olympia. Actually, he beat a 7 times Mr. Olympia field heat. Wow. So the story and the knowledge that this guy has is not just like I'm a retired bodybuilder. This is a top level. And also, so you understand how much is his knowledge, he's also a judge in the NPC. Okay?
Oh, okay.
That's the knowledge that this guy has. So not only a trainer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I figure the humble people are the ones that you never hear from. You got to hear from.
But he worked miracles. You look great before. What happened?
Well, no, it's age. It's called age and not training with, speaking of the miracle. The beautiful thing about Alex is that Alex has always had a mentality, and the mentality is something I did for 3 years, but after 3 years, I couldn't go anymore.
Yeah.
It just was too hard. But it's the mentality that a Michael Jordan has, a Kobe Bryant has, full effort, 100%, nonstop, keep going. And again, I did it for 3 years. You have to admit, because nobody else could keep up with us. But, eventually, my wife told me, you either come back home or you move in with Alex and Maggie and live with them, because you have 3 years of this stuff. I can't take it anymore. But it obviously worked.
No, totally. And at the level of the training that you guys were talking to, like, is that something that you aspired to from the beginning, or is it just like something that it just evolved and it happened, or was something like a goal that you were set? I want to be at this level in terms of bodybuilding.
Well, for me, it happens. Everybody get into the sport for different reasons. Ego can be one. Things that happens in your life can be one. So that any a bad moment in your life can change it. A bad managing of your body can make that transition to that. In my case, was insecurity of a kid that weighs 134 pounds, and moving to Miami. It's really hard to be noticed when you have no something fancy to show off, or a body, or known by something.
Yeah.
So moving to this place, not attending school, for me was like just hanging around. Like I had no friends, nothing. So I have to involve with something. Something that called my attention when I was in South Beach working was like how much attention the physical appearance of somebody that I take from the people around. I was working in a restaurant called Larios on the Beach, very known restaurant, and I was looking for myself, my own persona, and I see that. How do I call my attention doing these things? This is Miami, right? So I was like, Miami is so big for me, so it's so fancy. But my decision was like, okay, that's gonna see my way to be noticed in the society. How do I gonna attract friends? And I'm not talking about women. No, really friends, somebody to talk. I have to do it this way. That's the most attractive that I see. You have cars, you have everything going on at the beach, and it attract, but nothing beat a body or somebody, women or men. So I was like, that's gonna be my tool.
Yeah.
To be noticed and succeed in this city.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna be the best body in South Beach. And it was hard because there were no mangoes and all these places. All those guys had those bodies. And it was a point of like, I'm gonna do it. And I couldn't stop. So I get that. I had the best body in South Beach. Maybe it's just.
Oh, you got the best body in the world for the Masters Olympics.
Just
Past South Beach, you know?
That's a good time. We can show a picture now.
That's a different,
Past South Beach.
The Alex
definitely
picture,
next level.
Let's show him at the at one of his competitions. No, let me see. There we
There you
go.
go. That's the Arnold there.
There we go. I think I was at that one. That's the one he won.
Wow.
He looks kind of cute there.
Yeah, that was my tool to like being noticed. But I knew that bodybuilding doesn't give you as much money into like, use that as your future, as financially future. So what I was like doing since the beginning was forming my own enterprise, my knowledge about things. In that case was gyms.
On the business side of it?
Yes, on the business side. I'm not a social media. I can like express myself the way as most people because I'm very personal in my own thing. So, but I had ideas. I have a body of work that can match many stuff like that. So I use bodybuilding in order to put my name out there. Like people can trust that I open a gym. It was like I go into that gym because I can compete with money. That you have people that have money in Miami. It's like, I dream to have a gym. Go open a gym for me. And they just pay for it. So how I compete against that? Like I have to put a name, something that they can buy, right? So I did that, and I bring my
you're the brand.
I did myself as a brand, and so I wanted to put myself in Miami, a stamp in Miami. I came here as a tourist, right? I fall in love with the city. Like I had no idea. Like my colors are the Miami colors. Like I fall in love with and I want to stay here. So how do I build? But at the same time, because once you stay here, you become an illegal, right? How do I pay society and to form that I am a value asset to this society? I'm going to be the best bodybuilder in the world. I'm going to represent when they introduce me. Somebody have to say from the USA, the defending Arnold Classic champion is me. I represent in the United States. I paid that something. And then Miami, well, I mean, if you can correct me, but I don't see anybody in Miami have ever won in bodybuilding more titles that I have won. Nobody in the history of Miami.
I think beyond Miami too. I don't think there's that many.
No, Miami, we have a lot of local heroes that win a lot of local shows,
Right.
And they give credit to these guys, but they kind of get lost in the guys that go to the next level.
Yeah.
And it's a little different, guys that go to the next level, just not just winning a local show, but actually go to a pro level and actually be successful. Is very, winning a national show is hard. Winning a pro show at that level is different. Yeah. It's not just winning a show everybody's good in Florida, beating everybody from the world,
right?
Which is a different level of competition.
How do you guys balance running a business and also competing or training others at the same time? You as a trainer, like you used to compete as well.
Yeah.
At the with Lee Haney and other folks at that level, like how did you manage your own business of being a trainer and then also still training yourself?
Well, he just said, he's a brand. When you're in the industry, it attracts people to what you're doing.
Right.
So when you're, it's like I always said before, back in the 90s when all the pyramid schemes that started, you remember that, and you see somebody driving a Ford Escort, call me if you want to make money. I'm like, well, I'm obviously not calling you to make money because
you're in a Ford Escort.
A Ford Escort. No offense. You drive, God bless you, wherever you are financially. I drive a Hyundai, so it don't make a difference. But, but it's like if you're going to follow somebody to get something, you want to make sure that person has what you're trying to get. You know what I mean?
Right.
So why am I going to follow somebody to give me something they don't even have themselves? And so you are your brand. So when you're being successful and you're doing well, it attracts people to what you're trying to do. So the pressure's on you to do it. So you can't let go of yourself. If you let go of yourself, then you're not going to get the business. So your balance is your hunger to be successful on all fronts.
Yeah.
Like you said, competing doesn't make you money. What makes you money is how you sell your brand and what you're doing. That's what's going to bring you your income.
Yeah.
So when you understand that, you keep that balance. I got to be good at what I do, and that's my pressure, so I can be good at what I'm doing on the side here to pay for what I'm doing.
Yeah. So these elements, it's interesting, and I think that what it brings to mind for me is the level of commitment and the mindset that you guys have to take yourselves and your brand to the next level, to compete at the level that you do and to achieve it, and then consistently, because it's not like you did it once or twice, like
15 years.
That's right.
Gotta go.
What elements of your mindset do you apply to also running and elevating the business side of what you guys are doing or your brand? Because there's a level of consistency and things you have to focus on and push yourself. What how do you balance that, for you?
I think this is a skill that you learn, and the skill means is you pick in your team. First of all, you have to pick a team. Once you have a team, and I'm not talking about this guy. I'm talking about your team as your wife, can be your mom or your sister. Once you pick a team, you delegate, responsibility to everybody, so you can deal with older things. In my case, I'm not as good to balancing things, okay? But I'm very good to pick my team and delegate the responsibilities that I'm gonna need for me to be so reckless of what I will gonna do in order to win. I know Carlos for years, so that's another difference. And I can be successful. I've been successful in my gym, but not because of I'm very good to maintain that and I'm doing different things. Carlos has been doing pastor. He's been doing a dad. He's been doing bodybuilding, judging, coaching, all this stuff at the same time. I'm not that good. I cannot do that. I cannot do half of these things, So what I'm doing is I have my wife, and that's my thing, and I have my coach. I leave my responsibilities and things so delicate in the business, that we have, so I can concentrate in competing. But when I'm doing this, it's very scary because you're gonna lose all sense of what is going on in your surrounding.
Yeah,
okay, babe.
Singular focus on that.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm gonna put my brain in something else. So I'm gonna recklessly the gym in Costa Rica. The gym over here is gonna be reckless. I'm not gonna pay attention to the numbers. I'm not gonna pay attention to the schedules. I'm not doing that. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Boom, and all the responsibility falls on her.
Yeah.
So I can continue doing this thing.
Now
we explain.
Yeah.
I have to work on the brand.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're already financially good to not competing, but in order to be relevant, you have to do it. And there's some sacrifice to doing those things. Like not only that psychologically it's really hard to retire, but also because you have to be relevant until you get to a point that your business running in different ways. So, that's the balance that I have, but he have a different balance and things like Tico have like different balance.
Yeah, I was curious about that too.
That's very important for any business.
Yeah.
To see what is your strengths and your weaknesses. Like my strength is to be focusing one thing 100% crazy, no excuses, like focus on that to death.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot be in three things. I have to be focused on this one. I don't have the ability. My wife have the ability. So I just pass it to them. There's some guys that have the ability to do everything.
I can second that, by the way, about his wife, because I know her very well, a very long time. And she grinds 10 times as hard as he does when it comes to all the work that she does and everything she does behind the scenes, just so you get an idea. But it allows him to put his focus and his mentality, which is, again, your Mamba mentality and his Jordan mentality, because it does require complete and total focus and giving everything else up for that. To be him, to be that what he is, you have to give everything else up. And his wife balances him out with all the other stuff. So if I brought her up here and showed it to her right now, you could see she's in better shape than he is. And that's not even from working out that much. That's just from all the work she does behind the scenes. Yeah, she's running around. Okay, now that we are into the business side of it, so let's talk a little bit about the Strive305, because that's why we're here. What are some issues that you guys have had with the business side in the past that if Strive305's website existed now, we would have those answers for you? Because that's our job. Our job is to promote the website, let everybody know that it's out there, And even better than finding out what the problems that you have now that we can correct now is finding out problems that we haven't figured out how to correct so that we can add that to the website. That's our job, is to make the Strive305 so good that any small business starting now, guys like you that are starting to do what you did, trying to do what you did back then, can do it now without having zoning issues, without trying to figure out where do I get money for my business, things like that. So any issues you guys could share.
Yeah, or those are challenges like when you were
first thing off, when you come here and we give credit for the career and the physique people build and you say mindset, all that. And the first thing I do when somebody comes towards me and says that, I'm going this, whatever you want to do in life and be successful at, you're going to have a passion for it and you're going to work for it. So you might not be doing what I'm doing, but if you want to be successful, you have to have that mindset is, I'm going to make this happen, any which way, So we're all doing this to run a business. So your business can be something completely different, but you have that mindset of, I want to, and when we're doing what we did, we read back then, we started before there was internet. So, so it was us reading books and studying or doing what you got to do to get as much information. What you're trying to do is, and the more information you had, the more successful you are, and nowadays we have, internet, you have YouTube, you have websites that are giving information, and then you don't take advantage of all the information you have nowadays that we didn't have in our careers starting out or a business starting out. And now it's just like click and there's whatever I need is right there. And when back then we had to go to libraries, we had to go, ask questions, go to a seminar, sit down and listen, instead of just having all this information for whatever we want to do right at your fingertips.
Yeah, I have to go to every department in the city to find out what you need for every single license and every single, if you needed a loan, if you needed to know if your place was available for zoning, all those things, you'd have to go by yourself, one by one, going crazy, which is what has been put together here to avoid that. Now you can actually go here.
It's all in one place
now. You do it off your phone. You go on your phone and whatever.
You ask and it'll give you based on location, based on what you're looking for, based on zoning, based on type of business, all that kind of stuff.
Well, that was the biggest problem we have at the beginning. It was actually just like getting permits and stuff like that. But I think like what happened to us and the way we manage and the help that we have from the owners, and we're able to open the gym. But I think that most people, they're just trying to open any business. Like, I'm not talking about just the gym, any business. And you take 6 months to get the permits, and you paying that place.
Yeah.
You paying the rent for 6 months. And then you have to deal with people that are they just cancel because of the weather or whatever. So easy. That was very frustrating for me. And the only reason we actually opened the gym, thanks to the owner, because we were like, okay, we can, we give everything that the county is asking me, is everything is there. No, not approved. But let me see what I can see to not open the gym.
Yeah.
The last thing they changing a wall, a wall. It was there for the entire thing. I changed the wall and I told the owner, I cannot open this thing. No. And he was like, listen, don't pay me the rent until you get your permits. You start paying me the rent. And the only reason he did that because Maggie and I just remind him and his wife going starting the business, but that's something really important. I don't know, to speed up the process, have everything. I don't know I didn't even remember we have everything but we always do things like that. So I don't think that we're missing anything, but it's such a great point in your business just to start the business. Mm-hmm. It's the ability to actually open. Once you open, you have to deal that you don't sell. So you have to maintain that, but you have 6 months paying rent for free, fixing the place for I don't know, waiting for, and we all know, I don't want to talk bad, but waiting for nothing.
It's not wrong if it's true. I mean, that's what happened.
You're just waiting for nothing. Now, open the gym. So I'm gonna give you that. We're in Pinecrest in that area for South Miami, right?
What district is that? Commission district?
This is true. District 7.
District 7? Oh, okay.
Raquel Regalado's district.
Oh, okay.
I think, we had that up.
Yes.
Raquel Regalado,
we
7.
have really good relationship. They don't bother. They help. It's everything is, but once it's open, now the business is not a problem with the city. It's actually very, very good. You have a good relation with that. Now it's the problem with the banks. How do you grow? Like
Right.
I've been open for 13, 14 years, and it's like I have never have a loan. I have to
So
like
you never had a loan since you've been open?
never. We apply for loans, and my credit is perfect. We have open for 13 years.
Did they ever tell you why
So
you didn't
it's like-
qualify, or
Like listen, I can get from the results and things like that because they don't explain that much.
right?
They
Right.
don't explain that much. I always qualify for PayPal loans.
Mhm.
The PayPal loans give you $30,000, $40,000. Do you know how much do you pay a week? $1,000, man. Can you imagine that? What do you buy with that? like, yeah, I give you $40,000. How much is the payment? $1,000. Good. I'm doing it a week. Yeah, anybody knows that. Like you can check. So, but when we have we remodeling the gym, we bought some new, and that was like 2020. And by the time 2020, the chipping, and instead of $7,000, it was $7,000 the chipping. What it goes from $7,000 to $20,000. So I have to take $40,000. I have 2 containers with all my machines. Nobody gave me a no. I couldn't qualify for
none of
anything.
the commercial banks that you were going to. But I think that's one of the things on the Strive305. They do have different types of banks, like CDFIs, where sometimes it is more amenable to working with small business than others. That many times the commercial banks won't give you a loan. But that's really interesting, and to be in business that long and to be able to accomplish everything you did and still not be able to successfully get a loan is crazy.
That chipping we pay in with PayPal.
Well,
$1,000 a week, man.
I don't know if you guys have
Well,
that on,
that's-
on the website. If you guys have access or help for that kind of situation for people, that
There are
100%,
CDFIs and resources on there, and I think that's one of the things it's good to hear and to know because they can add more. But there are CDFIs and specific loans like the RISE loans and others, Dade County Credit Union and Federal Credit Union, that they
There are even
have those
grants.
times.
There's grants that'll pop up that people
Right.
don't know about. Mom and pop grants.
The
out
specific
there.
time grants that you don't. It helps for the grants you do. You don't have to pay them back, and the different county commissioners offer them. So even if it's small, it all adds up and it helps.
Yeah. Before we run out of time, I want to get to Pastor Pump here because he had 2 things I want to talk about. Number one was his the event that's coming up. I'll let you talk about that in a second, and also his story. We can't get into it too deep, but his story he had, from what I heard this whole documentary yesterday, he had a heart condition, right? That's correct. I don't want to.
Yeah.
So it was a heart issue that caused him to be in the hospital 40 days. Look what he looked like. I want you guys to see when he came out of the hospital what he looked like. I only show you this for inspiration. 170 pounds, I believe he got down to.
I had bulked up to 180. I was
Oh,
back
you
in the
were at
gym
180.
that point. I was bulked
So
up.
yeah,
to
so he was
180.
10 pounds lighter than this when he got out.
I was heavy already. I was training for a month already.
Could not walk. Had to learn to walk. Had to use his hands again. Everything. All right.
This was from the heart condition?
And he brought himself all the way back
Yeah, I
to competing again.
didn't know what I had and got me.
Yeah, so no excuses. I just put that out there because I want everybody to know that there's never an excuse, and you could always come back whether you want to start for the first time, whether you're overweight, whether you just want to do what Alex did.
Well, that's in
you know?
business as well. It's whatever. If you have a desire, passion, you make it happen. So people are watching you.
Yeah.
So
And you have no excuses either because you got Strive305 now. It's going to help you with all the little nuances that end up killing businesses and don't let them start. Now you have that as a resource to make sure you get off on the right foot. Tell us about your event that you're doing.
Well, like you said, Lee Haney, 8-time Mr. Olympia. He was also chairman of physical fitness under President Clinton. So he was there in the White House for eight years working, as far as the fitness programs for the United States. So then just a bodybuilding event. It's a fitness event, So you get your bodybuilding info, nutrition info, but just also functional training. So he'll be down here May 5th, May 10th, coming down here. So we're looking forward to that. At our Empire Gym that's on I don't have the address in front of me. It says on the website.
Empire Gym, okay.
Empire Gym there, and so he'll be there. So we're looking forward to that. So
yeah, you're promoting that on your Instagram, right? Which is at Carlos Pump
at Pastor_Pump.
Pastor_Pump. Yep. And Alex's Instagram is Fello Cambronero.
Fello Cambronero. Fello.
Cambronero, right? And what's mine? Does everybody know mine? That's important that you know
Tico.
mine. At Tico Casamayor.
Buenohente.com, no?
Tico Casamayor. At Tico Casamayor. used to be Pimp Daddy, but my wife made me change it.
Not good for politics to have that on there.
Yeah, right. For home politics, it doesn't work.
Okay, I think we're done because Amber's looking at me saying, "You're finished. Finish this up already. I'm getting tired. She needs to
I
go
think
have
you should
lunch."
listen to her.
I agree. So let's do our thank yous to our people. The
Thank you
reason
to
that
you
we're
both.
here.
I thank
No,
you
no,
guys.
thank
Thank you
you
so much.
guys
It's
for
really
having us
and
here.
good luck with your competition coming up.
Thank you very much.
We also have to thank our Mayor Cava, for putting this Strive 305 initiative. We want to thank Anthony Bonami, who's the one that also helps us get this off. We're not going to thank Manny Sid this time because he told me not to, so we're going to not say his name.
Manny doesn't like you to say his name, so don't
He's
say
very
Manny.
humble. And of course, Grant and Michael Miller. without them, we wouldn't be here either.
Community
hate
newspapers.
I hate having to thank Grant because all he does is abuse me. As soon as I walk in till I walk out, all he does
He
is
only
make
does
fun
it
of me.
because you like it, for the
I
record.
guess
so.
it's because I like it or because he loves me. I'm hoping, and thank you, Community News. But yeah, that's it. I think we're good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you, guys.
See you next time.